Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy Fantasy Football, TITTH number 172. I'm your host, Justin Bruni, but we got the full gang tonight, full house, full Hizzy. We got Stephen Hammond, Nick Davis as usual, and we've got a special guest in Detroit Beastie, Christopher Robin. How we doing, sir? How we doing, gang?
I'm great.
Good.
Thanks for having me. And we were hanging out for a while. I don't know how long you guys were hanging before I popped in, about 10 minutes before we went live. And I didn't hear Steven say one word, so it's going to be nice to maybe finally interact with Steven on the live portion of the show.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
We'll get after it here.
Really excited. We got a good matchup here for Thursday Night Football. Already working on the short weeks. Prime time is here. How's everybody feeling? Anybody got any best props for tonight?
You guys can go. Yeah, so first up, I got Antonio Gibson. I'm heavy on him tonight. I like him all over the place. I like him to get 100 yards. I'm getting that at plus 265 on the ground. Last week we saw the Broncos just run all over this Giants team. Melvin Gordon, I think, topped the 100-yard mark. And I think just Gibson's a better back than Melvin Gordon. So I like that one right there. Plus 265, great money.
Yep, love it. How about you, Chris?
I'm on a lot of the unders here. If you look at, I'm heavy on Tyler Heineke tonight for a few reasons. And Tyler, I like the under in total passing yards at 245.5. I think that's a good bet. And right now, he's projected right at around 250. So obviously Vegas knows what they're doing. So they give us the 245 here. I still like the under. Danny Jones, I like the under with him too. Although last I looked, Danny Dimes is projected at about 260, 270 yards. So betting the under at 236.5 is risky, but I'm in it. Nick said it's raining like crazy there. Justin, you look like you're at the game yourself. So can you just turn around and tell us if it's raining or snowing, what's going on?
It's a little clear in my multiverse. That's for sure. It's definitely not raining here on my screen, but outside it's cat and dogs for sure. So also, if I just magically disappear from the stream, it's probably because of the bad weather. So sorry about that. Oh boy.
And I also love Tyler Heineke to score the first touchdown of the game, and I can get that for plus $1,500. I think that's a good move. I've had a lot of questions, the last few days. I'm sure you guys have too. What do I do for like the single game slate, right? The DFS single game slate. Who do I put in my captain spot? Who do I put in my MVP spot? And I think Tyler Heineke, not only for this week but moving forward, this kid's got nothing to lose. And we saw last time he played in a primetime game, last minute for them, he went all out. Kid's got nothing to lose. Why wouldn't he play out his heart and soul, diving and touching the pylon with the football? So I'm big on a few things with Tyler to score the first touchdown, to score 2 total touchdowns, but I do love the under here too. So it's a thin line, a give and take.
Yeah, I absolutely love all those props, especially the Heineke. I think he can rush one in and pass for one. Love the unders on Dan Jones and Heineke's passing yards tonight. As we mentioned, the weather is going to be pretty rocky, and you just have some inexperience at the experience level between the two quarterbacks, right? Dan Jones hasn't been consistent since coming into the league. Heineke's this will be his second game started. He started that playoff game, right? Or did they let Alex Smith start that playoff game?
I think he got the start. I think Smith was hurt, maybe.
So only his second career start. So I really like that a lot, and I also like Heineke to do some damage with his legs. That's why I like the under on the passing yardage. I'm also riding the wave on the Gibson props tonight, like Steve. I like Gibson over 17.5 carries, and I like a parlay prop. Gibson at least 100 rushing yards and a football team win. I also really like Logan Thomas over 4.5 catches. So those are the ones that I'm riding with tonight. Anything that you wanted to add in there, Nick? Anyone that you really like or are disliking this evening?
With the weather, I just dislike the passing, attack. So I'm going to take unders on that. And then for the rushing, I'm going to take overs because they're going to be getting a lot of opportunities. So like Saquon Barkley, they're going to be giving him the ball a lot, even against this strong defense, because I don't think Daniel Jones can hold on to the ball. One thing I saw on Twitter, someone asked me, Over under anytime fumble for Daniel Jones. I said yes, over. Give me the over because, and especially with the weather, I'm definitely taking it. So that's how I feel about tonight's game.
Yeah, very good, very good. Let's jump into our monkey knife fight props to start. If you guys haven't already, please be sure to like the video, share us out on social media, and follow us on youtube.com/take it to the Hizzy. Let's go. All right, first matchup we have here is Terry McLaurin and Saquon Barkley. Terry McLaurin over under 74.5 receiving yards and over under 49.5 rushing yards for Saquon Barkley. We'll start with Steve and come around.
Yeah, this is tough because you guys have been talking up this weather so much. So I'm just I really want to go the over on Terry McLaurin, but if it's raining like that and they got Heineke at quarterback, I'm going to go under on that. And then Saquon over under 49.5. With him being questionable, I'm not going to put too much stock in the over. He got, I believe, 10 carries last week. So he's going to need to do the most with those 10 carries to hit that over. So I'm going to go under.
Okay. Nick?
I'm going to actually take the over on Terry. I'm not high on the passing attack, but I'm high on Terry McLaurin. He made me eat my words last year. I thought he was going to stink it all up, but even with all the quarterback changes, he has done wonders, and I think that he's going to be the one getting the ball. Saquon, I think he's going to get the over. I think that he's going to be getting a lot of opportunities to break a run, and, I was talking to a friend of mine that's a Washington football fan, and I was like, the rain does help your defense, but with Saquon, it kind of makes it a lot easier to skate on the turf. So I'm going to say that the over for Saquon.
Okay. What do you think, Chris?
I got the over on both guys. I got Terry McLaurin for about 5-6 catches tonight for well over 70 yards, probably closer to 80, 85. And with Saquon, I have him for more than 10 carries, about 13 or 14, not a ton, but I do think he hits the 60 to 65 yard mark in this one. So give me the over on both guys.
Okay, sounds good. I like the over for Terry. Obviously, we're getting a downgrade in Heineke at quarterback, but at the same time, the matchups for him, Adoree Jackson and James Bradbury, I think he's more than capable to leverage those matchups, create some space underneath, get some easy catches, and still break open the top, because I do expect the Giants to bring a lot of pressure and close in on the offensive line pretty quickly. So I think Heineke and McLaurin hook up for at least maybe one or two deep balls tonight. And then Barkley, I'm going to the under. Still not certain about his health yet, his role this evening, what type of volume he's going to have. And he's also just going up against a super stiff front seven in the football team's, defensive line and linebackers. So I'm going to stay away from him. Let's move on to the next matchup. We've got Sterling Shepard over under 59.5 receiving yards and Antonio Gibson over under 70.5 rushing yards. Obviously, I'm in love with Gibson on the over. We'll go in reverse. We'll go with Chris and then back around.
Yeah, I'm in the under with Shepard. I have him for about 4 receptions for right about 50 yards, so give me the under. And then on Gibson, rushing yards, I have him for about 75 or 80 rushing yards with about like 17 or 18 carries here. So under and over.
Great. Nick?
There we go. It's crazy because Sterling Shepard gets a huge diet of targets every game that he plays in. But I'm still going to take the under on this. I think that steady diet is going to be maybe halved. And then I'm going to say Antonio Gibson. I'm going to say over on Antonio because I think he's going to get the ball a lot. Even on like third down, I think that they're going to try and play it safe and try not to make mistakes and allow the Giants to win. I think it's going to be a defensive struggle. So I think the team that makes the most mistakes tonight is going to lose.
Okay. Steve?
Yeah, after a strong week with Sterling Shepard last week, put up 113 yards. I want to take the over, but it's just too tough here. I think the Giants just won't have enough offense, so I'm going to go under there. And then as my best bet, Antonio Gibson, got to go over.
Okay. Like I said, I already like the over for Gibson. I'm betting on that live tonight, at least 100 rushing yards. Sterling Shepard, little tougher. I think that he's actually going to have an easier time tonight. He's going to be matched up with Kendall Fuller. Kendall Fuller has been much better since coming to the football team, but I think that, again, with the experience of Sterling Shepard, he can really open up some things for that offense. And really, that was the Achilles heel of the football team last week in their week 1 premiere against the Chargers, was their secondary. So I think that might be an opportunity to damage them tonight, at least to try and move this change. So I think Sterling Shepard should have a pretty solid role. So I like the overs for both. All right, last one up here. We've got Taylor Heineke and Dan Jones over under 17.5 fantasy points, not prop, for Heineke, and Dan Jones over under 16.5. I like the over for Heineke and the under for Jones. What do you guys think? We'll start with Steve and come back around.
I do agree with you for the under on Jones. Heineke's tough because I think it's really right there. It's going to be 17, 18 points. So it's tough. I'm going to go with they are the better team. I'm going to go over for Heineke.
Okay. Nick?
I'm going to take the over for Heineke, and I'm going to take the under for Daniel Jones. I think that they're going to take the ball out of Daniel Jones's hands and not allow him to make too many mistakes. I've seen some turnover numbers for him over like 24 games or something like that. It's like the highest rate of like interceptions and fumbles. It's like more than Jameis Winston. So, so I think that they're going to try and take the ball out of his hands and try and put it in the hands of, like quick screens, I'm guessing, and handing the ball off to Saquon. So over for Heineke, under for Jones.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, I'm with everybody so far. I'm going over on Tyler. I think he's accountable for like 3 touchdowns tonight, 1 on the ground, 2 in the air, and we're good to go. With Daniel Jones, I think he gets over those points. Then he'll throw an interception, minus. Then he fumbles the ball, minus. So there's going to be a short period of time where the over bet hits, but the game isn't over, and he's just going to fumble those points away. So give me the under for Daniel Jones and over for Tyler Heineke.
Yep, fair enough. Sounds like we're all on the same page here. Heineke, I like to rush for a touchdown and pass for a touchdown. That's 10 points right there. 150 passing yards. I think that gets him up to like 16 or so, 16 total points. So he needs another 1.5 with 150 yards passing and another 1.5 with his legs or a touchdown or whatever it is. So seems like a very doable number here. We got our first chat in the question night from Yair's. I don't know. Took a stab at it. Washington defense tonight or Pats defense versus the Jets. I like Washington football team tonight. I'm going with them. The total in this game is at about 41 points, so that has to be appetizing. I would assume that the total is also pretty low for the Jets and the Patriots, but I'm going with the football team. A lot more playmakers on defense. What do you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not even thinking twice about it. Been in full-blown love with the Washington DST and a lot of their IDPs for quite some time. So to me, not even a question.
Yeah, I'm taking Washington. I'm more hopeful for the Jets offense, and I think that the Pats are kind of like reeling right now, even though that they kind of got some things under control, but I'm still going to take Washington because they're definitely a better unit, and the weather's also going to help them a lot too.
Yep. Put a bow on it, Steve.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with all of you. We've been trashing Daniel Jones for a good amount of this, saying the interceptions or fumbles he'll have. That's points for Washington D. So yeah, I'm all over them tonight.
All right, very good, very good. Appreciate the question in the chat there. We also got Driscoll going off on his props. He's got a Gibson anytime touchdown plus the over 18.5 reception yards. Dan Jones over 20.5 rushing yards. Like that prop, Jake. $10 gets you 52. And he wanted to also add in on Galladay anytime touchdown. Says he's going to defend the contract over 54.5 yards. Make it a wild 5-leg 10 gets you to 250. I love it. Love it, Jake. Always love you in the chat. All right, let's jump into our actual game preview for the evening. We got the football Giants taking on the football team. We've got the Giants coming in as road dogs, plus 3.5 on the spread, plus 177 on the money line. Over under right now, as of at least about 15 minutes ago, 41. I really like the football team to win, cover, and while I feel like the under should hit, we're probably going to get something weird like a defensive touchdown, a kick return, and we're going to go to the over. So I'm going to bet the total live, but I guess I'll go with the over pre-show or pre-game, I should say. What are we thinking?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much in the same boat. I think the football team covers. The money line, and that low of an over under really kind of freaks me out. I would stay away until it is live, but for now I'll go over 41.
Okay, what do you think, Nick?
I'm gonna go under 41. It's probably gonna be like 17-13 kind of game. I'm gonna say that Washington does cover the 3.5, and they're gonna win. So those are my takes.
All right, very good.
Well, headed into this game, probably on Monday when I wrote down all my bets and the over-unders, I had the final here 24-17. And if you add that up, that's 41 points exactly. And when this thing opened up, it was at 40.5. So that's over by a half a point. Now it's at an even 41. So it's telling me that whatever I'm doing and whatever Vegas is doing, it's like right on the money here. So to be fair with you, it would just be a push, but I would lean taking the over, because if the final is, or excuse me, if it's close 24-17, I'll risk that I need a half a point or 1 point, and I will risk that at the last minute on a field goal or something weird, some sort of defensive touchdown, as you said, Justin. So I'm going over on this one. So let's say 24-21 will be the final.
Yeah, and I also see both teams maybe pulling out some of the gadgetry, maybe some trick plays. I wouldn't hate a Gibson flea flicker, back to Heineke, maybe down the field for Diami Brown. I don't know. I think we're going to see some weird stuff tonight, some fun stuff, hopefully.
Some bubble screen to Diami Brown, 40, 50 yards to the house. Yeah. That would be nice.
Hitting the prop, not too bad. I just think the football team's defense is just on another level. Like you mentioned, Chris, really bought in with whether it's DST or IDP, whatever. I'm the same way. I was a big Cameron Curl guy last year, really bought into Cole Holcomb and Jamin Davis this season for IDP. So really love all those pieces. And man, that defensive line, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, Chase Young, next level defensive end. Like, it's too much. I think they're going to be bringing the heat all night long. Dan Jones is going to be on his back. We'll get to some game props here soon, but I think they're going to be in line for hitting some sack props as well, some totals on that. So sounds like we're all over the football team tonight. So the Giants will probably win. That's life in the NFL, right? Let's jump into some sitter starts that include this evening's players. I'm going to start off with Taylor Heineke versus Andy Dalton. Heineke is Fantasy Pros QB 28 to Andy Dalton's 32. We'll start with Chris, and we'll come around. Where are you at on this week, I should say, not tonight. But
well, this is Heineke a good one, and each one, if you don't mind, I'll take a couple seconds. I have their projections, how I see them this evening. I have Heineke for about 250 passing yards on 23, 24 completions, two touchdowns in the air, 1 touchdown on the ground, and then a couple carries for about 15 to 20 yards there. And then when you get to Andy Dalton, to be honest with you, it's not as close as you think. I have Dalton for about 20 to 22 completions, about 240 yards, 1 touchdown, an interception, couple carries, but that's it. So give me Heineke in this one.
You're getting me all sorts of excited as a Bears fan.
And to be fair with you, I hopefully everybody watching now and everybody here can agree that, Tyler Heineke is going to see 100% of the snaps at quarterback. Kid's got nothing to lose. He's going to go nuts. And then when you look at the Chicago side of things, they're going to be working in Justin Fields here and there, probably kind of like a soft release in a way, and then boom, Fields can take over. So Dalton isn't even going to be in the mix for 100% of the snaps at quarterback. So I don't like that, especially when you look last weekend, they put Justin Fields in the red zone, kind of a high upside situation, and they took Andy Dalton out of the game. So I don't want anything to do with Dalton for now or the foreseeable future.
Smart man. I think all of us here will share the same sentiment. I'm definitely going Taylor Heineke. The matchup's just way better. Dalton didn't make a pass attempt this past Sunday beyond 15 yards. Wow. It's going to take a little minute for Darnell Mooney season to take off. I'll tell you that much. My goodness. Nick, Steve, where are you at with this one?
I am going Heineke. Dalton just doesn't get me going about anything, like he just isn't the same. Like he was kind of electric with AJ Green in Cincinnati, like early on in their careers, but that fizzled pretty quickly and he really hasn't ever recaptured that. Tyler Heineke, I think, is a little bit more depended on. Because I watched that Bears game and I saw a lot more like rushing and, you were right, not 15 yards down the field. He wasn't making a completion. So,
a pass attempt. He didn't target downfield. It wasn't completions. It was targets.
Really stifled Allen Robinson. Yeah. Have you seen Allen Robinson's, the routes that he ran? They're all within 10, 15 yards. It was insane.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't trust him there. So I think Heineke has a little bit more trust, a little bit more of the team behind him. So I'm going to take him in this matchup.
Steve, I feel like I know where you're going with this one, but put a bow on it.
Yeah, I'm going Taylor Heineke. He's got the ability to score a touchdown himself on the ground, which Andy Dalton, to Chris's point, I mean, the Bears are quarterback by committee. So if they get down to the goal line, how do we know that Justin Fields doesn't go in there and, just sneak one in over the line? So I think the upside for Heineke here is a lot more than Andy Dalton. Get rid of Andy Dalton. I'm out on him.
Rip the name off the bottom of the shoe.
They just got him. They're going to get rid of him. They just got him.
Should have never brought him.
I agree.
The Giants need a quarterback, I'll tell you that much.
And to Nick's comment, right, the last time I got excited about Andy Dalton was when A.J. Green was playing, which seems like 20 years ago when they were hooking up all the time. So
A.J. Green played this past weekend. So did Andy.
Yeah, not at the same
A.J. Green is a complete shell of what he was. Like, those injuries really took away all of his ability, and that's really, really sad. It sucks, but A.J. Green was one of the top receivers when he was younger. So it's a sad story, but it's whatever.
I don't think it's just the injuries. The dude had just a shitty, terrible attitude last year with the Bengals when he was 100% healthy. I think it's a little bit more than that, too. I also believe the guy's just cashing checks. So, well, that's a different talk for another day. Next up, we got Dan Jones versus Zach Wilson. Pretty simple for me. Even with Zach Wilson as a rookie going up against Bill Belichick and the Patriots defense, I just still like his upside a lot more. Honestly, I like his weapons a little bit more, too. They got a little bit more of a sound running game. So I'm going to go with Wilson.
Yeah, so I'm in on Wilson too. I think Daniel Jones just draws obviously a tougher matchup with this Washington football team. That was one of the tops last year and looks to do the same this year. I like rolling the dice on Zach Wilson. Maybe I just haven't seen enough bad from Zach Wilson, whereas Daniel Jones, I've seen him be terrible at times. So I'm on the Wilson train.
Fair enough. Nick?
Definitely on the Wilson train. I honestly thought he had the biggest bust potential of this rookie class, but I was very impressed with what I saw in week 1, and I think that if he gets more reps, he's going to be something special. But I'm going to take him in this matchup for this week.
Love it. Chris?
Guys, did you know Daniel Jones is 5-0 his last 5 games against the Washington football team? That's just a little microcosm of the reason why I'd prefer Daniel Jones this week over the rookie in Zach Wilson. I mean, you're playing the Patriots. Bill Belichick is an absolute monster of a genius. I think he finds a way to completely make this kid fold in the pocket, makes him look silly. Long term, obviously Wilson, but for this week, week 2, I'm going Daniel Jones, guys.
I don't know, man. I just saw Chase Young getting everybody huddled around on the field, like the entire defense. He had a baseball bat with barbed wire on his back with a leather jacket. He looked mean, man. He looked like they're about to kill somebody.
Well, good thing they're wearing football helmets. It wouldn't hurt his head that much.
Here you go. All right, let's try to go a little faster with the running backs and position players. Antonio Gibson versus Deandre Swift, super close. Fantasy Pros has Gibson at running back 10 in PPR, Swift at 12. I'm going to go Gibson. Just really love the matchup tonight. Like I said, with my prop on him, 100 rushing yards and a football team win. I'm going Gibson over Swift. What do you guys think?
Who's Swift playing?
Detroit is playing the Packers on Monday Night Football.
Give me Swift. I think the Packers are kind of reeling right now, and I think that Swift's going to take advantage of that. I do like Antonio Gibson for this week, but it's raining still, so there can be some mess ups and not as easy breakaways. So I'm gonna take Swift in this.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm taking Gibson. I've obviously been high on him all show, and I think Swift popped up questionable today. He got that designation, so a little worried there. Jamal Williams was getting a decent amount of work in that offense last week, so I'm gonna go Antonio Gibson.
Okay, got it. Chris?
I'm going Deandre Swift, and it has nothing to do with the fact I'm in Detroit and I'm a Lions guy. I think their stat lines are going to look almost identical, and the only difference is going to be in some sort of PPR fashion where Swift gets 1 or 2 more catches, puts up 10 or 15 more yards. And, by the way, Green Bay is, I believe, their 20th overall against opposing running backs, and they looked awful. They got their butts beat, playing New Orleans in Jacksonville. And I just think the Lions are on some kind of they're buzzing, right? They lost and it is what it is, but they put up a ton of points in the second half, and that's just what you need for a kid like Swift, who was like they said he gained a little weight, he was slow all summer, and bam, he breaks off some nasty 50-60 yard touchdown reception. So give me Swift, please.
Okay, I like it. Next up, we got we'll do Yair's pick in the chat. Saquon Barkley or Javonte Williams versus the Jags. That one's really tough for me. I had Saquon Barkley versus Damian Harris, and I'd probably go Damian Harris because that's a really good matchup. What do you guys think about both? Saquon versus like a Damian, or maybe even like a Melvin Gordon, even over Javonte. What do you guys think?
I'm picking Javonte in this one. The Jags kind of not a good team. I think that he's going to have more opportunity for breakaways than Barkley will have tonight. Barkley's just going to get a lot of opportunities, like in terms of like attempts.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's really tough to bench. I'm sure with Barkley, you had to take him end of the first round, maybe early second. So it's tough to sit him this early in the season. But I do think this is a game where the Broncos want to roll out Javonte a little bit more because they're going up against a Jags defense and they want to get him acclimated. So I think he does see some more carries there and can outperform Barkley.
Okay. Javonte Williams for me, I'm not thinking twice. I have Javonte down for about 4 or 5 more carries, as Nick said, a.k.a. more opportunity. So give me Javonte in some sort of ground and pound game against the Jaguars, who are 30th overall when defending opposing running backs.
Right. Yeah, I would really not want to have those options, Javonte or Barkley. If it was Barkley versus Dame Harris, which was the one I had here in our notes, I would go Dame Harris. If it was Barkley versus Gordon, I'd probably go Gordon, but I feel like I'm digging a little bit too deep for Javonte, at least probably on my roster. But if that's what I'm stuck with, then yeah, I'll go Javonte over Barkley, but I think it'll be pretty close. I think Barkley could still find pay dirt tonight, just may not have a ton of production. All right, let's roll through the wide receivers here. We got Terry McLaurin at wide receiver 15 per Fantasy Pros and PPR. Mike Evans at 21. That's a tough one for me. Mike Evans did not get that elite production, or at least that elite volume that we're looking for, at least in week 1. Do you guys like him to bounce back in week 2? I think I'm still probably going Terry here.
Yeah, I'm going Terry here just because he really is like the lead guy there, where Mike Evans, yeah, he might be the lead in that offense, but there's just so much talent. So I got to go with Terry right there.
Definitely going Terry in that one. Like you said, Mike Evans didn't get that elite production last week, and I think that Terry is, if they're going to pass the ball, it's going to be to Terry, and that's how I feel about this offense. So I'm going to go Terry in this matchup.
Well, I also like Terry here, but I'm going to keep it different because if we agree for an hour, broadcast isn't that fun. So to me, I'm going to go Mike Evans. And did you know that he ran a route nearly on every one of Tom Brady's dropbacks? It just wasn't in the cards. Tom Brady just didn't see what he wanted to see. So again, in this offense, Tom Brady, in his entire length of his career, is so good at spreading the ball around and getting it, to several different players in one game here. So I think it's a big Mike Evans game. Might be a 4 or 5 reception game for 140 yards and 2-3 touchdowns for Evans. I think that's what we're looking at this weekend for Mike Evans.
Okay, I like it. Still going Terry, just like the matchup a little bit better. Mike Evans has just more competition for touches, keeping it simple. Diami Brown versus Adam Humphries. If you're stuck with the second bit of the Washington football receivers, maybe you had Curtis Samuel. It's a really thin league, and you got to start one over the other. Which way are you guys going here? I like Diami Brown over Humphries.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, Steven. Go ahead.
I'm going Diami. I just think that I don't really like either of them. I actually took the Brown under receiving yards, but of the two, I think he just sees more opportunity, more targets this game.
Where's the fun in playing Adam Humphries, right? We spend all spring and summer drafting rookie drafts and trading and adding folks, and then Curtis Samuel, unfortunately, went to the IR, and if you're like me or anybody else, you had Diami Brown kind of sitting at the back end of your bench. This is the time to use him. This is why we play fantasy football, because it's exciting. We have some young stud with the upside. We don't even know what it's going to be like. You know what you're getting from Adam Humphries, almost nothing. So play the young kid in Diami Brown after all your hard work and shooking and jiving, getting him on your roster. Don't be a fool. Play Diami Brown.
I like it.
It's more fun.
I like it, Chris.
I feel like Diami Brown's kind of like the Cam Sims of like a couple years past. Like Cam Sims had a lot of hype coming into the season, but he really didn't do too much. I'm not saying Diami's not going to do much, but there seems to be a reputation of hype coming out of the wide receiver room, and the person doesn't really do anything. I'm going to say Adam Humphries, just to kind of go against the grain here. I think that he's a little bit more proven in the NFL, and we'll get those like slot kind of receptions.
All right. I like it. All right. Next up, Kenny Galladay versus Corey Davis. I like Corey Davis. Had a great week one.
Yes, Corey Davis.
He's going to be needed this week up against that Pats D.
I'm taking Corey Davis in this one. I had him on. I took a shot on him, one of those like flyers on like wide receivers that change teams or rookie wide receivers. He ended up being my shot that I took, and he got me 2 touchdowns first week, and that was with Zach Wilson. I understand that they, weren't playing like the best team, but I think that Corey Davis is going to be a better wide receiver 1 in New York than Jameson Crowder was last year.
Okay.
I'm going Kenny G here, and again, I'll tell you why. I think the stat lines at the end of the day here are going to be almost identical. 5 targets, 6 targets, 4 or 5 receptions, about 65 to 70 yards apiece. I think the difference is going to be in a touchdown. I think the difference is going to be in some sort of weird play where they get some sort of bubble screen or a pitch or something like that, and I'm going to give the edge here to Kenny Galladay, trying to get this guy going. He's one of the better ball-contested kind of wide receivers in here, so why wouldn't you kind of want to let that cat out of the bag here? So give me Kenny G this weekend or today.
Yeah, tonight. Potential ceiling, for Kenny Galladay is pretty high, right? I mean, can burn you down the field, can come across the middle. Just needs to get clicking with Dan Jones. That's all. Put a bow on it for us, Steve. What do you think?
I'm gonna go Corey Davis. Chris almost swayed me there though with the touchdown for Kenny Galladay being all the difference, because that really could be it. I just think that Corey Davis, when he is with the Titans, was seeing 5 targets a game. Now he's on the Jets. That number has just increased drastically, in my opinion. He is their guy. So I'm going to roll with Corey Davis.
All right, cool. 3 for Corey, 1 for Kenny. Last on the wide receivers, we got Sterling Shepard, Fantasy Pros, wide receiver 39 in PPR to Marvin Jones, 43. Kind of a tougher one for me. Like I said, I kind of think Sterling Shepard's going to get used a fair amount tonight. Like his matchup up against Kendall Fuller. Marvin Jones, I'm not really sure what I'm getting out of the Jags. I think I go Sterling Shepard.
Sterling Shepard. I'm going to go Sterling Shepard in this one. I think he at least gets like 7-8 targets a game. I'm going to say he's going to get like 5 or 6, and it's usually like possession routes to move to chains or just past the sticks. So I'm going to say Sterling Shepard in this one just because he's wide receiver 2, 1, whatever they want there. So I think there's going to be more opportunity for him.
I've seen this a million times. After week 1, everybody flocks to the waiver wire to get 1 or 2 guys after an awesome week. And look at what's going on with Sterling Shepard here. What do you have? 115 yards a catch. Everybody spent fab on him. Everybody's going nuts in DFS for him in the captain spot, MVP spot. He's going to crash back down to earth. So give me Marvin Jones Jr. This guy is steady Eddie. You can count on him for what? 4 or 5 receptions a game, 7 or 8 targets a game. And I'm telling you now, Jacksonville played awful in week 1, but I'm telling you, they must get something going, and I think it starts in week 2. So give me Marvin Jones Jr.
Fair enough. I just think he has a tough matchup. Kyle Fuller, Patrick Surtain, going to be interesting to see those matchups, wide receiver versus the corners with the Jags and the Broncos. We're just going to do one tight end one because in good faith, I can't tell you to start a Giants tight end this evening. Logan Thomas, tight end 6 versus Kyle Pitts, tight end 7, Fantasy Pros and PPR. Man, that's a really tough one. I think I still go Logan Thomas tonight, but I have this inclination that Pitts is just going to be a big target hog this weekend for the Falcons going up against the Bucs. What do you guys think?
I'm going to take Pitts in that one just because they gave up Julio Jones, and he's basically their wide receiver 2. Calvin Ridley's in that wide receiver 1 spot. It's just I feel that there's going to be more available for him, and he's going to try and break out. They're going to try and feed him the ball. I mean, you don't spend a 6th overall pick on a tight end in the NFL if you're not going to use him. So they're really going to try and force feed him the ball.
All right.
I do think they're going to try and force feed him the ball. I don't know how that'll work out for them going up against the Bucs, who have just some great linebackers and Devin White, Levante David. I think they will be able to match up with him better than most other teams in the league. And so I like Logan Thomas here. I think he can do some damage.
Really quick, if you want to see inside my crazy mind, I see everything from a DFS perspective, from a Vegas over-under perspective, and you could just say player A or player B, and it's so close between these two. I look at the over-unders. I look at the projected, point implied totals, and I have Atlanta, Tampa Bay going nuts. Almost 65 to 70 points scored in this one compared to the only 40-41 in the game tonight. So purely on an upside basis, on a very high over-under game, give me Kyle Pitts in Atlanta playing Tampa Bay this weekend.
Yeah, I think he's going to wind up, really getting that production or that volume that we were all anticipating. I mean, obviously, he left us wanting more in week 1. Same thing for Calvin Ridley. I really love him this week. I think he's going to bounce back. All right, let's jump into some game props. But really quick, do you guys see that Emron is working for Uber?
No, working Uber late, like working very late.
Oh, okay. I was
thinking Uber is capitalized, so that
he's
means
definitely not working.
company.
He's not working Uber. I can guarantee you that.
Are you sure? Are you think he's out here hustling in this rain right now?
Does Emron work Uber? No, yeah, he doesn't work Uber.
Right,
I know.
We got a second source. He's not working Uber apparently. So
he's not working Uber.
All right, just Uber late. Uber
he,
late.
He had a comment.
But it was capitalized, and so when you get to the makeup of a sentence, that means it's a noun, person, place, or thing. So Uber is the company. It's just in the way
autocorrect. Autocorrect.
I guess so. All right, let's jump into some game props for this one. Either team to score 40 points tonight. Yes is paying plus 700. Anyone putting their dick out there to get bitten off?
Hell no.
Nah, I'm good.
Combined, maybe, but even that's close.
Nah, yeah.
Steve, no?
No shot.
No shot. All right. I really like this one. Giants over under 1.5 field goals. The over is paying minus 152.
Over under field goals.
1.5. They got to hit 2 field goals.
Oh,
yeah, I would say over.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely love that one. Total touchdowns for the Giants over under 2.5. I kind of like the under. The under.
Yep.
Under.
What do you think, Chris?
Under, absolutely. I think they put up 17 points, maybe even 20. So 2 field goals over and 2 touchdowns. So under there.
Nice. I got the Raiders at 2.5 on this one on Monday. Hit that one. That was awesome. Such a fun Monday night. Hopefully it's just as fun to this evening. Both teams score over 19.5 points. The yes is paying plus money. What do you guys think?
Done deal. Absolutely.
Done deal. What do you think, Steve?
Could you repeat that one time? You said both have to go over.
Yeah, both. I'm sorry, both teams to go over 19.5, no under. Just both to go over 19.5.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, it's got to be something weird with the Giants, though, man. I don't know where that offense is going to be coming from. Let's see. Washington total field goals. They got a 1.5 number. Wow. The books are thinking they're scoring touchdowns tonight. I got it. I have to bet that. The 1.5.
I'm gonna say over.
Yeah, I feel like I have to just take that.
I'm saying under. 3 touchdowns and a field goal puts you right at 24, which I think is the final score for them.
All right, I'm saying field goal on that first drive just to get me the 1, and then whenever. All right, cool. Let's see what else we got here. Total touchdowns for the Washington football team, over under 2.5. I like the over.
I'll take the over on that.
Yeah, that's too good.
I'm taking it right now, betting it live.
You won't do it.
I just did it. It's done. It's happened.
Well,
it's finished.
He put as Justin has said, he put his own dick out there, and we'll see if it's bitten off or not.
Sometimes you just got to put it out there and hope for the best. And it's kind of a traffic term for me. You just got to kind of scoot. You got to scoot yourself out there. Kind of get aggressive, and then if you get hit, you get hit. You got to walk that off. All right, any QB to throw over 300 yards this evening?
No.
I don't think there's any chance.
All right, then we'll skip the 350.
Oh.
Any player to have 100 receiving yards in this game? Any player?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna go yes.
I'm gonna say no.
It looks clear on the TV, like the weather, but you know how rain kind of like is hidden by glares or whatever. But it looks kind of clear.
All right. Any player to have 100 rushing yards? Yes. I'm betting that. Well, no, I'm not betting it because I already have it. So
I'm going to say no. It'll be close. Antonio Gibson can still have an awesome game without 100 yards rushing.
Fair enough. Kicker points. Dustin Hopkins, over under 7.5.
Over.
I got to go the over. I'm taking 3 field goals. No one else is kicking them.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Interesting how I get, plus money with the Hopkins field goals, but for the team field goals, I get, whatever, even money, like minus 114. Kind of interesting, I think. Graham Gano, over under 6.5.
Under. I don't think Graham Gano's a good kicker. I don't think Dustin Hopkins is a good kicker, but Dustin Hopkins is like the special teams in Washington is also very strong. Like Tress Way, he's one of the best punters. Yeah, I'll take an over on Tress Way for sure.
Hey, go under with Graham Gano. He's bounced around. He got no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I'm taking the under as well. Steve?
Under.
All right. The longest completion for Daniel Jones, over under 34.5.
Under.
Going under.
I'm going to go the over. I think he just gets one. He hooks up with, let's see, who do I think? I even think maybe he finds Galladay down the field once.
Okay, all right.
I don't think Jones can hit Galladay.
Well, he can't hit much, so yeah.
Taylor Heineke, over under the same number, 34.5 passing yards. Longest play.
I'm going to say under.
I'm going to say over. I think he gets one with Terry.
Terry goes around on the 15 crossing routes. Like, that's what he really does. That's his strong point. He's not a deep threat. He's more of a, that pass last week, that was a crazy pass. But he's more of a possession guy that moves the sticks for them. So I'm going to say no.
All right, let's dig into some player props here. We haven't done any of our charity challenges yet, and we got about 4 minutes here. So I'm going to try to aim for some quick ones that I know where some of you already stand, because I want to get this rolling here. Let's see. Chris, you're saying Antonio Gibson under 99.5 rushing yards?
Correct.
All right, I will. That's where we're going. You go with that, $5 to $10?
Absolutely.
All right, very good. Steven, let's pick on you a little bit here. Where are you at? You said Kenny Galladay was going to have a big thing downfield. He's got 56.5 receiving yards. You like the over?
Shoot.
Don't want to chase it. I'm willing to go elsewhere.
I mean, Steven, to back you up here, you did just say moments ago that Daniel Jones.
He could have one of 34.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. You know what?
He needs what, 18, 17 yards.
Yep, I'll take it. I need my revenge from last week. Justin got me, so
okay,
I'll take it.
All right, so you're taking the over. I'm taking the under on Kenny Galladay. I'm writing these down. 56.5 for Galladay. All right, very good. And I got the over on Gibson and the under on Galladay. Okay, very good. All right, we got that all in. To all of our viewers at home, we're trying to raise money for the Autism Society of America. You can help us do exactly the same. Every week for every show, we're doing some props to help raise money. Losers got to pay out at the end of the show. Fundraiser always wins, right? It's really good stuff. Absolutely. You can text to the Hizzy 244-321 and make a donation. 1, 5, 10, $100. Doesn't matter to us. Really helps out. We really appreciate it. The game should be starting now, so we're going to jump into Chris's bottom of the barrel, a segment that he has every week, an article that he has every week for DFS in the NFL.
Absolutely, yeah. Bottom of the barrel. It was boring. I won't keep anybody here longer because I do also want to turn on the TV and watch this game here. It's just those value plays, those underpriced guys that help your lineup pop, because we all know the stars and the studs to play here. I'll give you one player at each position really quick. I love Kirk Cousins this week. Minnesota goes to Arizona. Arizona's 29th overall against opposing quarterbacks. $7,400 on FanDuel, $6,200 on DraftKings, and only $30 on the Yahoo DFS thing. Now, in terms of the running backs, I love Nyheim Hines this weekend in seasonal formats and in DFS circles as a complimentary piece. Indy plays the Stafford and the Rams, 32nd overall against opposing running backs. Jonathan Taylor will have a big game, and so will Nyheim Hines under the radar. Hines is only $5,100 on FanDuel, $4,700 on DraftKings, and $14 on Yahoo. Little bonus running back action, Kenny Gainwell. Philly plays San Francisco. Frisco's 30th overall against opposing wide receivers. $5,000 on FanDuel, $4,000 on DraftKings, and only $14 on Yahoo DFS. Down the list, Mike Williams, Los Angeles Chargers wide receiver. They play Dallas. You always want to pick on Dallas. Dallas is 21st overall against opposing wide receivers. M-Will, as I call him, $5,600 on FanDuel, $6,100 on DraftKings, and only $23 on Yahoo. A bonus wide receiver, Devonta Smith, the stud dynamo rookie wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, looked fantastic last week, and he will look fantastic again as Jalen Hurts continues to grow and flourish. Devonta Smith, $5,600 on FanDuel, $5,400 on DraftKings, and only $21 on Yahoo. And one sneaky tight end, Tyler Conklin, to hook up with Kirk Cousins. Little Minnesota Vikings action stack. Tyler Conklin, Arizona, as I said, 29th. They've always been bad against tight ends. Only $5,000 on FanDuel, $3,200 on DraftKings. I mean, come on, what are we doing? $10 on Yahoo. If you want the whole list, just message me. Go to Team Riser Fall or find it on my Twitter page at Detroit Beastie.
Love it. Love absolutely every bit of it. And other than Cousins and Conklin, I'm grabbing like shares of every one of those guys in fantasy this week. So absolutely love those names. Some of the other guys that I really like this week, maybe you can give some feedback on what your thoughts are for DFS plays.
Sure.
Is Melvin Gordon going to be that guy again this week? Is he going to be like that reliable running back that people can trust? Earlier, I was saying that you could start, Melvin Gordon over Saquon Barkley. Is he lined up for a big spot this week?
Well, I don't think a big spot. And with Melvin Gordon here, I think now starting this week, we're going to start to see the transition of power in that running in that backfield. I still have Melvin Gordon for about 13 carries. I have Javonte at about 14, as I said earlier, about 50, 60 yards, 4.5 yards in average. Did you know last weekend, Melvin Gordon averaged 9.2 yards a carry here? So Melvin Gordon isn't dead in the water yet, but at this stage of the game, you tread lightly until we see the full exchange of RB power in Denver kind of dissipate.
Sure. I did not know about the 9.2, but I knew the Giants held up a league high 5.9. So that seems likely. And the 70-yard run probably helped out big time.
That's a good tweet. Did you know Melvin Gordon averaged 9.2 yards a carry? 11 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown.
Can't hate it. Can't hate that.
No.
What about the young cat Najee Harris? Is he going to bounce back this week? Pretty decent matchup up against the Raiders. We saw a big run from Tyson Williams early on in that game. Do we love the rookie?
Yeah, absolutely. This kid will get going. You're always going to bet on talent. Week one, a young kid. He's never played a professional football game. He had preseason and OTAs, but nothing is like real game action here. So Najee Harris was a putrid 2.8 yards a carry last week, 16 carries, only 45 yards. I think he doubles that yardage total this week, hits 85, 86, somewhere in there. And I think he finds the end zone this week for his first professional score. So give me all the Najee Harris.
Yeah, I agree. I love Najee Harris a lot this week. Fantasy, DFS, whatever it is, props, etc. Any RBs you guys want to ask Chris about this week? Love, hate? Bounce back, take off, take flight?
Well, I guess just Kenny Gainwell versus Elijah Mitchell. What are your thoughts there?
Well, here's the thing with Elijah Mitchell. He's the waiver wire darling right now. We've seen a lot of folks send screenshots. Oh my God, one guy or one girl blew all their fab in after week one for Elijah Mitchell. And we know the drill in San Francisco with the Shanahan name comes, good running back production, but you never know which running back will be the one producing here. So 19 carries last week. I think we can shave a couple carries there. I still think Elijah gets 14 or 15 carries here, about 65, 70 yards. Don't think he finds the end zone. Couple receptions, no more than 20 yards in the air. So to me, Elijah Mitchell is the better play than Kenny Gainwell, but it's going to be short-lived. I think Kenny Gainwell grabs the role here as a pass-catching back to Miles Sanders, who also is looked at as a pass-catching back. So they have some things to shake out in Philadelphia, and they will do that on the fly. And in the meantime, with Elijah Mitchell, use it or lose it. It's not going to be there all season. It could start to fade away as early as week 2. So this week alone, give me Elijah Mitchell, but that won't last long.
I love all of the Kenny Gainwell love. All summer long, I've been banging that drum.
Yeah, no one
calling
cared.
him the next Austin Eckler in that Nick Sirianni, or not, been working with Nick Sirianni before, who loves throwing to the running back. So yeah, just an awesome player, good fit for that team, and very excited about him this year. Nick, did you want to add in a running back to ask about?
Running back to ask about?
Hey Nick, ask about Larry Roundtree III in Los Angeles real quick.
Yeah, let me know about Larry. What's going on with him?
Sure. Larry, they're playing Dallas. Dallas is 21st overall against opposing running backs. He's dirt cheap because he's the second string. I think he's the second string now behind Eckler. $4,900 on FanDuel, $4,000 on DraftKings, and only $14 on Yahoo. Now, here in seasonal formats, Austin Eckler is a stud. He's fantastic. He didn't see much work at all, if any, in the passing game this past week. Herbert and these guys, they'll get it figured out. When Herbs unlocks the keys to this offense, it's going to be fantastic. Justin Jackson, no worries. I got nothing there. So Larry, to me, is the RB2 there, and I think they're going to work him in early and often moving forward here. Austin Eckler's the man. We know the deal, and you never hate to predict an injury, but we know Austin Eckler hasn't always been the pillar of health here. So Larry Roundtree's a great stash for seasonal dynasty formats, but for right here and now DFS circles, get him in your lineup. You could have worse players at the RB spot.
I like it. I like it a lot. He looked very, very good in week 1.
Guys, just so you know, Diami Brown is not playing right now. He's not a starter. It's Adam Humphries, Terry McLaurin, Cam Sims, and I forgot who the other one was, but Dynami is not on the field right now.
So he's
Cam
not even
Sims.
Dressed. He's a healthy
Cam
scratch.
Sims wasn't even in the barrel. Can't even get him at the bottom.
I had enough of him last season in the article.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Just gonna ask about, like, we can each just ask like one wide receiver. What do you think about Julio this week? Decent play, bounce back, stay away. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm all in. I mean, Julio is Julio. He's a Hall of Fame caliber wide receiver here. I see no issue with him. I'm kind of stalling as I can bring up his what I have for his projections in the computer here, and it won't pop up. Maybe there's a storm moving through here and I've lost Wi-Fi. But Julio Jones, you can trust the guy week in and week out. There's never been a time in my life when Julio was awful 2 weeks in a row. So I think it was just a bad kind of thing for Tennessee in week 1. Tannehill was still working out the kinks after being in and out of the lineup and on the COVID IR and everything. So Julio will be fantastic. AJ Brown will be fantastic, and I could see a case where it's a big Derrick Henry game. His typical 200-yard kind of rushing performance from Derrick Henry. You don't keep the king down that long.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I got one question. If you had to rank these Steelers 3 wide receivers, Deontay, Chase, and Juju, how do those kind of stack up for you?
In DFS formats, you're saying? Or
Yes.
seasonal format. Well, in DFS formats, they're insane to rank in seasonal and dynasty formats. But I came to the conclusion live on air last week. I don't know where I was or who I was with, but I said I'm going to rank the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers based on their price. Whoever's the cheapest, that's the one I would rank first, and so on and so forth. So as it stands now, I believe Deontay Johnson is probably the most expensive. Claypool is in the middle, and then Juju is dead last. So that's how I would rank them. Juju being the cheapest, he would be first and foremost in my DFS circles, if that makes any sense.
It does. I can get behind that. Same thing with Tampa Bay. I would be going the cheapest, which is probably Antonio Brown.
Yeah, because they're all going to see some sort of work. We just never know who's going to be like the stud for that week. It's going to be like the 3-card Monty. They're just switching it, the shell game, and you know what I mean. It's crazy. Right. So the cheapest is the best for me.
Fair enough.
I like it.
What wide receiver would you choose in New Orleans with Jameis Winston having success?
I love, Juwan Johnson is a weird thing. I know he's a tight end, but he was fantastic, caught 2 touchdowns here. And I believe that was just a case of Green Bay kind of saying they heard everybody on social media saying Callaway is a stud and we're going to just stifle and suppress him. In no way is that true, but that's what happened. Callaway was completely taken out of the game. Long term, I think Callaway is going to be okay, but I've always had a soft spot for Traequan Smith. So for the sake of what we're doing here now, Nick, I'm going to say Traequan Smith.
Isn't Traequan on IR?
Then I look foolish, but it is what it is.
No, I think it's just short term though. I think he will be back at some point.
I got you. I like Deontay Harris there.
You could even say Alvin Kamara is their best receiver, right? I mean, that's what we're going to do.
No, that's a fact. That is a fact. But from that group, I like, obviously Callaway had a really good matchup, or not a good matchup for him, but Jair Alexander had a really good matchup against him as a wide receiver. But I like Deontay Harris. Obviously he only had the 2 catches, but he had that big bomb down the field. Once they start getting into some game flow, that's going to require more of those deep shots. I think he could really reprise a solid fantasy role for you guys going forward. Now, what if that equates to solid DFS production? I don't know. He didn't have a lot of targets. He only had 2, and one of them was for a huge catch. Started him this week. Got him.
Good
All right.
you, yeah.
Let's move over to tight end. What do you think about Dallas Goddard? He's got a good not a good matchup, but a stiff matchup up against the 49ers defense. But it seems like he's a favorite target of Hurts. You like him this week, whether it's DFS or fantasy alike?
Yeah, absolutely. I have Goddard for about, not a ton of targets, not like the targets that Logan Thomas or Pitts will receive here, but I have Darren Waller. I mean, who can, rival that, right? 19 targets, that's insane. But I have Goddard for about 5 or 6 targets. He'll catch 4 or 5 of those for about 40, 50 yards. I think he finds the end zone this week. So, yeah, Goddard is a nice play across the board. In DFS formats, he's a little bit too expensive for my blood. I remember looking at it. So I just don't like Goddard there. He is, Dallas Goddard is $5,800 on FanDuel. That's a little bit too rich for my blood. I've always enjoyed and had good success punting the tight end position. You can get Ertz for $4,900 on the same team. So again, who's the cheapest tight end week to week in Philadelphia? That's who I'm rolling with.
Sure. Okay. What do you guys think? Any tight ends you want to ask Chris about?
I mean, do you think I know we kind of went over it like a little bit, but do you think Kyle Pitts is going to end up living up to his potential? I mean, that's more of like a dynasty question, I guess, but
sure.
Do you think he's going to start popping off soon, or is it going to be more later?
Well, here's the thing, and this is going to sound weird right off the bat, but no, I don't think that Kyle Pitts can live up to any of the expectations we've seen placed on him through social media, through written articles, newspapers. I mean, everybody expects this kid to carry the city of Atlanta on his back, and just go nuts. So from an expectation standpoint, absolutely not. Realistically, if you have a good head on your shoulders and you're thinking fine, Kyle Pitts is going to be a fantastic tight end in this league for a long time. I could see a case where he gets wide receiver eligibility down the road. But from an expectation standpoint, Nick, absolutely not. But you get what I'm saying. Everybody would say then, well, Chris, you say absolutely not, then you don't like Pitts, you think he's a bum. No, it's the unbelievably high expectations folks put on him. Nobody could live up to that. The president of the United States couldn't live up to expectations like that. Tom Brady can't live up to expectations like that. So why would some young kid in maybe, that was a bad reference. He's won how many Super Bowls here. But no, how could a young kid live up to that kind of hype and expectation? So I love Kyle Pitts, but for right now, no.
Yeah, fair enough. I think he's going to come along naturally. And to your point about the wide receiver designation, he just looks like a wide receiver out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works. They just have to play him at enough snaps at that position, like on the X or
I think so, yes. And you know what? When it comes to tight ends, not even tight ends, just DFS or fantasy sports, everybody wants what they want, and they want it now. Kyle Pitts, he's going to take some time to kind of develop. Will he come along faster than other rookie tight ends? Absolutely. Will he come on stronger than some other rookie wide receivers along these last few years? Absolutely, but it's going to take some time. DFS circles and even seasonal fantasy sports people aren't the picture of patience. They want it when they want it, and they're just not. After 1 week, people are bummed out about Kyle Pitts. Have some patience, have some faith. It'll happen.
All right, fair enough. We're going to transition to our final segment here, our final sit or start questions for Monday and Sunday. Right now, we got the Giants just hauling ass down the field. I don't think Dan Jones has missed a completion. He's taken 1 sack. Barkley ran up the middle a couple of times, and Dan Jones is adding extra yards with his legs. They're in the red zone, probably going to score at least first. It's about the 15-yard line. They're looking good. It's not great for us over here in our props. All right, final sit or start questions. First one up, we're looking at Ben Roethlisberger with the Raiders versus Teddy Bridgewater at Jacksonville. I'm going Teddy. Teddy covers.
I'm going to take Teddy.
All right.
Yep, I'm in agreement. Tyrod Taylor looked pretty good against Jacksonville. I think Teddy Bridgewater does the same.
Teddy looked good week 1 too. He looked good. He was shaking and baking out there.
He did. I'm gonna go Ben on the strength of more passing yards, which is not even that how can you? Of course, Ben Roethlisberger is going to have more passing yards, but Teddy's going to bridge the gap with his rushing yardage. But I'd still like Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay,
but I can't believe I said that. I can't stand that guy.
Fair enough. Ryan Tannehill at Seattle or Jalen Hurts with San Francisco. I like Ryan Tannehill to bounce back this week. I'm going to go with him.
I'm going to take Jalen Hurts. I'm going to keep the hot hand, man. I was highly impressed with what he did. And 32-6 drubbing of the Falcons, that was kind of shocking. And also like the chemistry that came up with Devonta Smith. So I'm kind of high on him right now, even though I do not like Philadelphia.
Okay, fair enough. Steve?
I do like Tannehill to rebound, but in this matchup, I like Jalen Hurts. What he can do with his legs is big. And then, honestly, that 49ers defense, I was going in with, I guess, high expectation for them last week, and they kind of let me down. They didn't look all that great. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts again.
I'm going Jalen Hurts as the ascension to superstardom is just getting started here, boys.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't love the matchup with San Francisco, and I think they really overcorrect on defense this week. All right, we got some running back matchups here. Myles Gaskins versus Chase Edmonds. Gaskins and the Eagles are with Buffalo, and Edmonds is with Minnesota, the Vikings.
I'm going to take Gaskins in this one.
Okay.
Go ahead, Steven. Excuse me.
You got it.
I'm going to say, you know what? You said Chase Edmonds, correct? Or Myles Gaskin? And if that's the case, I'm going Chase Edmonds all day. I have Chase Edmonds for about 5 or 6 more fantasy points overall. More yardage on the ground, more yardage in the air, more receptions. And I love Gaskins, but this just ain't the week, in the 2-player comparisons here. So give me Chase.
Yep. Looks like Dan Jones gets one with the sneaky, with legs. Direct snap to the quarterback, direct run. Looks like they're up. They haven't put the points on the board unless he's down at the 1.
I grabbed if it matters, I know this might be off topic, but I grabbed so much Daniel Jones like really late in drafts this coming season in Superflex leagues. So I even have him in the Scott Fishbowl. I grabbed him way late. So I'm kind of tied to Jones's hip as it so stands.
Yeah, I hear you. I took with my last pick in Scott Fishbowl, I took Taylor Heineke. So that was cool and all, but I started Fitzpatrick week 1, so it wasn't a great start.
Hey.
We got John Reed up in here. Goon, what's up, buddy? What's up? No, you're late, but that's all good.
John Reed.
Thank you for dropping in.
Was he working with Uber? He just getting in?
No. It would be surprising. Emron, I was going to say, man, damn, Emron's freaking hustling his ass out there. It's raining. He wants these surcharges. Let's go, man. I love it. Which San Francisco 49ers running back are you starting this week? Trey Sermon or Eli Mitchell?
Eli Mitchell.
Yeah, Eli Mitchell. Who's to say? We don't even know if Trey Sermon is going to be active. I mean, we have the idea because Mostert is on the shelf now, but who's to say? Because I've heard a lot of stuff saying that Sermon doesn't play special teams, and the head coach Shanahan loves running backs that can double as gunmen on special teams here. So who's to say? I mean, that would make no sense if Sermon was inactive. It made no sense when he was inactive in Detroit last weekend, so it's not even close. Give me Sermon, double-digit touchdowns, or double-digit carries, almost set in stone.
All right, very good. I like Sermon as well, but I do think that they'll split work. But between the two, I'll take Sermon. What do you think, Steve?
I'm going to go Elijah Mitchell. The whole Trey Sermon, there's too many question marks and everything behind him, whether it be the inactive, not dressing for that game, when he was the number 2 all OTAs, it seemed like. So I just think strike when the iron's hot, and I'm going to go Elijah Mitchell.
All right, sounds good. A couple receiver ones here. We got Laviska Shenault with Denver versus Mike Williams with Dallas. We already know where Chris is going with that with Mike Williams, so I like that.
Yeah, you want me to repeat it? Mike Williams, give me him all day in DFS formats and even in seasonal formats. Is this the year that he can finally, do away with all the nonsense and all the soft tissue injuries and really put it together on the strength of a massive breakout superstardom success of Justin Herbert?
And what's his nickname you got for him?
M-Will.
Yeah, M-Will. Easy peasy. Like Jamal Williams or Javonte Williams, you call them J-Will. Why can't we call Mike Williams M-Will? I know it's kind of weird.
I'm going to take Mike Williams in this matchup. I like Mike Williams a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm on board with everyone else.
I like Laviska Shenault, the matchup against those corners, Kyle Fuller and Patrick Surtain. Just not as appetizing as Mike Williams' matchup for sure. So let's go Mike Williams. Clear board there, all Mike Williams. Marquise Brown with Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. I was about to say Monday night. Sunday Night Football versus Cole Beasley at Miami.
Oh, this isn't even close to me. Is it close for any of you?
I'm going to say Cole.
Absolutely not. This Kansas City at Baltimore, they have the highest over-under in this one. I have the final being Kansas City 38-31, and they win. So there's going to be so many points and yardage to go around in this one. I know Cole, what did he see? Double-digit targets in week 1, but Hollywood Brown, just based on the game, I couldn't even care who the defensive backs are, who the coaches are. This game is going to be fireworks as it normally is. So give me the kid in a high plus matchup.
I think Cole Beasley can bounce back, but I like the upside of Marquise Brown, and he actually looked a lot better than the tape that I've seen previous to the last game versus the Raiders. Like, he looked pretty good. I know we're always talking about like the weight gains, but like his size, he just looked like he had a physical presence actually in that game. So I was impressed with him. I don't roster either of these guys, but yeah, I guess I go Marquise Brown over Beasley, who I expect to have a better game than he did last week.
And I don't care about his political affiliations or his reasons about vaccination. It's not about that. I just never liked Cole Beasley, and in this matchup, it's Hollywood Brown for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Hollywood. He's not Hollywood. He lost that name last year. Like, I don't know.
So Malcolm Brown, we'll call him. I mean, that is his real name.
He may have gotten it back Monday night. He's going to have to do it again this week.
You don't get
Not 1 week. Not 1 week. No way. He's Marquise to me. I'm gonna take Cole in this one. I just think that Lamar Jackson is still gonna try and run the show. They do a little bit more passing from what I saw against the Raiders, but they always like to revert back to what they always do, and just give the ball to Lamar and just run triple options all day. So that's how I feel.
What do you think, Steve?
I'm going Hollywood Brown because I think it just takes that one. And he proved last week that he could string some of those together. A big thing for Cole Beasley, I think if Gabriel Davis is ruled out, obviously his role expands a little bit more. But I still just like the big play ability of Hollywood.
All right, fair enough. All right, we'll wrap it up with one more. Tyler Higbee at Indianapolis versus Noah Fant at Jacksonville. I like Higbee.
I like Higbee too. Matthew Stafford, gave him a good amount of targets from what I saw watching the Rams game. And I have a lot of hope for that passing offense, a lot more than when Jared Goff was there. Even though Jared Goff had a great game, but that was kind of weird to me, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Football team not looking good so far. Heineke was just under pressure on 3rd and 4. Didn't have anybody in the clearing. It's not looking good. They're about to kick it for the second time, down 7. What do you think, Steve? Higbee or Fant?
I'm going Higbee. I like his chemistry with Stafford, and I think they'll just continue to grow on that. And he'll actually have a big year this year.
Hope so. What do you think, Chris?
I'm going with Noah Fant, and they're right next to each other in my rankings, which I just published right before we went live here. It's going to be the difference of 1 reception and 10 yards, but that's okay. But I'm going to give the edge to Noah Fant here after Jerry Jeudy is out and gone for the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought Albert O, though, was getting a lot of steady production.
True. I think Albert O is more of like a DFS punt play, right? And like he would be perfect for bottom of the barrel, which he was last season. And I'll catch up sooner or later. But for right now in seasonal formats, I'd prefer Noah Fant.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I like Noah Fant in a lot of formats this week. A good comparison between the two. I just like the bigger arm with Stafford. I like Teddy still, but Teddy's going to be conservative. He's not going to be looking for like those big downfield plays. So I'll go with Higbee. Just going with the bigger arm there. I had Pitts and Tanyan up, but we've talked enough about Pitts tonight. So we are going to head out. Chris, we really appreciate you coming by and sharing the evening with us, talking some ball. Is there anything that you'd like to plug before we head out?
No, absolutely not, really. You can find me on Twitter at Detroit Beastie. I could do this all day, talking props and start and sit stuff.
Yes, sir.
I love this. And just look for my college football DFS video and article will be out first thing tomorrow morning for Saturday the 18th.
Yep, we were talking about that before the show. A lot of money to be made with college football props. You guys should go check out Chris on Twitter at Detroit Beastie. Nick, Steve, anything before we head out?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you all for watching, and always good to work with you, Chris.
Right back at you. It was great to meet you boys in Canton.
Yep, absolutely. Can't wait to do it again. How about you, Steve?
Yeah, I just want to thank Chris for coming on the show. It was awesome. You're absolutely electric. So hopefully we can get you back sometime.
Whenever you need me. Justin knows the deal. I think he's got my phone number. I need 5-10 minutes heads up. and I'm
He'll
there.
be back. I don't know
Talk
if he'll be back
hockey would
before.
be great, but here we are.
I was gonna say, we got it right around the corner here. You know, we got the hot start with football here, but then towards the middle of the season, Hizzy's gonna be cranking, man.
Camps are 2 weeks away. If the last I looked for NHL, so I can't wait.
It's hockey's in my blinders right now, unfortunately.
Oh.
it's in my blind spot, so I gotta get back to it here pretty soon. But yeah, I'm very excited. We'll definitely have you back for some more football, some hockey. Talk any basketball? Any little basketball DFS?
No, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, NBA DFS is where I learned the process and the method I use now in hockey and baseball and football.
There you go.
But it was I used it and I used it, abused it, and left it. I have no interest in basketball.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we're gonna head out for the night. Everybody, take care. Be well. Be good. As Nick would usually say, hold your freaking Doge. Don't be tossing that out the windows. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.